Kwasuka sukela. When I first moved in with my husband and his family, things seemed perfect at first. His family treated me really well. They gave me plenty of gifts, they were kind, and overall, they made me feel very welcome as someone who came from a toxic and dysfunctional family background. But something just always felt off. I never asked for anything, but it was almost as though they were insisting on giving me these gifts and doing me these favors, as if it was a way to gain control. That is exactly what it is. It's not because they're doing it from the bottom of their hearts. It's so that one day, when you decide to stand up for yourself, or you decide to call them out on something or hold them accountable for something, they can go back and say, but I did X, Y, and Z for this person. And it's meant to basically guilt trip you. It's a form of guilt tripping. It's manipulation. Later, I discovered the truth. They were all talking about me behind my back, with my husband and to my husband. They would tell him exactly how to control me. Isn't it always the case? They would say things like, she owes us everything. At first, I ignored it, brushing it off as small signs. I told you that's how it always goes, and you should never ever brush it off. It's usually a preview to the movie that is about to play itself out in your life. As the conflicts with my husband grew, the reality became clear. They had never been on my side. They are your husband's family. They are not yours. You need to decide whether you want them to be your family. You need to date them. You need to spend time with them. You need to read them. You need to observe them. This is the part that we never do. We're usually love bombed, yeah? Shayamalobola. Everybody's excited and festive. Only later, after the celebrations are done, does the drama begin. It was like a game of manipulation. They pretended to support me, but worked behind the scenes to brainwash my husband. And then, when I'm not around, they would do the same with him. The moment I stopped living by their rules and started prioritizing myself, everything changed. They became cold, distant, almost hostile. Yeah, they've all gone and had a little discussion. This is a form of devaluation. This is exclusion. It's also known as isolation. It's meant to make you feel lonely, meant to make you feel mentally and emotionally unstable, so that you then develop a dependence on them and allow them to control you. It's always about control. It also shows a great lack of emotional intelligence, because a healthy or intelligent adult would request to have a conversation, communication, right? They can see something's wrong, they want to fix it. The fact that you need to resort to childlike tactics shows that there is a problem with some level of your mental and developmental abilities. Now my husband and I barely talk, even though we live in the same house. I keep my distance, I focus on myself, and I've also asked the in-laws to do the same. It's very difficult. My father-in-law is incredibly manipulative. When things don't go his way, he gets very aggressive. It's like watching a cycle play out. That's exactly what I was talking about, that childish behavior. I'm gonna throw a tantrum instead of using my words, verbalizing how I feel. And it's usually because I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how to articulate myself. So I'm just gonna lay down on the ground like a little baby, and I'm gonna throw a tantrum. I'm gonna kick and I'm gonna scream and I'm gonna scare everyone into doing exactly what I want. Fuck all that. And it is also most definitely a cycle. He was either taught to do this, he figured out how to do this as a way of surviving his family and environment, or it is something that he discovered with trial and error as an adult that worked with people, right? It's very dark human psychology. People will tend to do this. These are the people that we're constantly telling you need to have boundaries for, because you cannot tell the difference between people as they're walking to you off the street. You usually find out then it's difficult to get out. You want to know what's heartbreaking? My husband grew up in that environment. It's shaped him in ways I'm still discovering. Sometimes I wonder, does he act like them unconsciously, or is it something more deliberate? And therein lies the conundrum, my angel, is when people grow up in these types of households, for the most part, depending on the level of education and their life experiences going forward, they won't know any better. They won't have conversations with their friends. They will not go for therapy. They will not explore and become aware of themselves to a level at which they can say, you know what was going on there is not normal. I need to fix this. What happens most of the time is that our future husbands go out into the world. They don't talk about their problems. They don't process their emotions. They don't know why they think how they think. They don't understand how they function. Just want to get through life. Just want to be the biggest dog in the pen. Just want to get all the bitches and the hoes. No idea what's actually going on. No plan for the future. And then when we meet them, they have now adopted the same tactics, the same behaviors, the same thought patterns that they've learned at home, and they come and they apply them in our relationships. Then it's not a nice time for any of us. So if you've ever been trapped in a cycle of abuse or manipulation like this one, you need to know you're not alone. As you can hear from all the story times, let me know how you've handled situations like this in your life in the past. Let's talk about it in the comments.